We asked AI to predict Night of Champions matches. Let's talk about it. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video. And in this one, we asked artificial intelligence to predict the WWE Night of Champions match card, because that is the next PLE.
Yeah. Artificial intelligence, short for AI.
Dude, hell yeah. So I will say this too. This was made before the King and Queen of the Ring announcements.
Okay. When's Night of Champions, though?
Night of Champions is June 28th.
Okay.
That also reminds me, Dylan, June 28th is also All-American Bash.
Oh my
That's
gosh,
right.
Didn't even think about it.
That is the next dog event at Sacred Heart Church in Riverton, New Jersey, All-American Bash. We better see you there. We'll be there in production and on commentary. So without further ado, Dylan, let's jump in to these matches. And I will say this. I don't think they're going to do it like this. However, Night of Champions is usually every title gets defended on the show.
God, I hope so, but they have too many based on what their match cards usually are.
10. We got 10 titles.
Yeah, with that
10
also
matches plus King and Queen of the Ring.
Yes, also I will also say Saudi Arabia having more matches than a traditional PLE is definitely not absurd. So,
but are they going to have 12 matches?
No, I do not think they will have 12. But I think the idea of them having 7 or 8 to get more titles on, isn't completely out of the question.
Yeah. So AI did it like that, where they predicted every single title is on the line, as it should be, as Night of Champions usually is.
My guess is it will be the 2 King and Queen of the Rings and then 4 world title matches.
Agreed. Yeah. So let's move on to this first one, Dylan. We've got the WWE Women's United States Championship match. That's going to be your champion, Zelina Vega, versus none other than Chelsea Green. Prediction: a match scenario or a continuation of their feud, given Green was the previous champion before Vegas won it on SmackDown. Dylan, how likely do you think that this match is going to take place at Night of Champions?
Pretty unlikely. I don't feel too confident. If it is going to happen again, I feel pretty good about Chelsea taking it, though. So if we get Chelsea, if Chelsea challenges for it again, I think she wins. But I think the odds at this, I'd honestly be surprised if this is on the card.
Agreed. I also don't think Chelsea will challenge for this title again, because
not anytime
she will challenge for one of the world titles.
Not anytime soon will she challenge for that title, that's for sure.
So let's move on to the next women's mid-card title, and that is the WWE Women's Intercontinental Championship. You have, I also did this before Money in the Bank. So you have Lyra Valkyria versus, which is your champion according to AI, obviously not anymore, versus Becky Lynch. Prediction: the search results indicate this feud is ongoing and intense around Money in the Bank. If Lynch doesn't win the title there, the rivalry could easily extend to Night of Champions, with Lynch still chasing the title, the one title that has eluded her. So we can flip this, Dylan. Do you think Lyra is going to challenge Becky for the IC title?
It's funny enough. I really don't think it's that. I don't think it's that crazy at all. I could definitely see it for sure. I could 100% see it, honestly. They wrestled twice. I guess a third would make sense, especially if they want to give Becky, especially if there's going to be a reason for Lyra to kind of move on, because she did attack Becky after the match. It was a controversial win. Becky grabbed the tights.
Yeah.
So definitely feels like this is definitely a potential match to happen at Evolution, or not Evolution, at Night of Champions. And if not Night of Champions, then Evolution potentially.
Yeah, and if you want to hear us talk about Money in the Bank, everything that happened on there, you can go back and check out our previous video that dropped on Wednesday. And if you want to watch us interview Marvelous Independent Wrestler, you can watch our previous video that came out on Thursday. So let's move on to our first tag match, Dylan. You have the WWE Tag Team Championship match, which is going to be your champions, the Street Profits, taking on A-Town Down Under. Prediction: the Street Profits defending against the cocky and capable duo of Theory and Waller would make for an entertaining and athletic tag team contest. Dylan, likelihood of this match going down?
I'd say as close to 0%
Oh,
as
damn. Okay.
they're not even on SmackDown anymore. They're on Raw now.
A-Town Down Under?
Yes.
Wow. I guess
So
I haven't seen them in a while.
yeah, so they're on Raw now. So I think it's even less likely because of that, but I think it was pretty unlikely before that. If anything, if the Street Profits are on this, feels like Fraxium's got to be the team,
Okay.
in my opinion. Or a four-way between Fraxium, Street Profits, MCMG, and DIY.
Okay.
Because if I'm being honest,
Please.
I could mess around with just combinations of those four teams forever. So,
Dude, seriously.
yeah, but I think the Street Profits being on the card would be cool because we haven't seen them on the card in a while, especially for PLE.
And they're very over.
Incredibly over.
Hard to keep them off.
Yeah, so I would love it if they are, but let's be honest. I don't think the likelihood of any of these matches are too high unless it's a world title. If I'm being that honest, I feel pretty confident that we're going to get the 2 King and Queen of the Ring finals and then 4 world title matches. But I'm going to kind of give my percentages as if we were going to have all the title matches on, would this be the match? Kind of. So that's kind of the vibe I'm trying to give it. And also, of course, given the likelihood, some titles that aren't world titles are more likely to be on the card than others, obviously, as well. So, but yeah, don't think that match is very likely at all.
You want to hear something crazy that I saw somebody tweet earlier is that the first time that they teased Austin Theory turning on Grayson Waller, Jacob Fatu wasn't even signed to WWE.
Yes, I did see that post. Yeah,
That's
that is
insane.
It's pretty crazy.
Holy shit. All right, let's move on to the next tag team championship match, Dylan. That's going to be the World Tag Team Championship match, which is your champions, the New Day versus the War Raiders. Prediction: a rematch from WrestleMania 41. These two teams have great chemistry and can deliver an exciting championship bout. Dylan, what's the likelihood of this match going down at Night of Champions?
Maybe. I could maybe see it happening,
Mm-hmm.
like just to end this feud, kind of.
Okay.
Officially have the New Day move on from the War Raiders as potential challengers. I don't think it's super likely to happen. I don't think these will be on the card, unfortunately. Like I said, and I think I lean toward if they're going to put tag titles on, they would put the Street Profits on, specifically because they weren't on Mania too. So I think they just. I do think Triple H, to a certain extent, tries to split up the title matches that way. Like if IC title has been on for however many consecutive pay-per-views, it's not going to be on the next one probably, and something else will be on. So that sort of thing. But I'd say this is probably pretty low on the list of likelihood of being on the card.
Okay. I agree. So let's move on to the WWE United States Championship match. That is going to be your champion, Jacob Fatu, defending against LA Knight. Yeah. Prediction: a rematch from WrestleMania 41 where Fatu won the title. LA Knight would be eager to regain his championship from the dominant Fatu, leading to a brutal clash.
No, this isn't gonna happen.
What about Fatu versus Solo?
Yeah, I think Fatu versus Solo definitely could happen. I think
Okay.
I think the US title.
Hey, you.
I think the US title and Jacob Fatu out of non-world titles are the most likely to be on the Night of
Okay.
Champions
I
card.
think it'd be hard to keep Jacob Fatu.
Yeah, I think the only way they keep him off is if it's like the 4 world titles and then something else. But yeah, I think if it's gonna be on the card, it's gonna be Fatu versus Solo, which I'm all about, man. I'm really excited that we got this Jacob turn and we got what we are like. I think this is. I know originally it definitely felt like we were going toward WrestleMania, right? And it felt like they kind of had to pivot because Jacob was so over.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I think this ended up being a better story. Like I think this ended up playing out much better, and I think Solo is much better now than he was 6 months ago. Like I think
Yeah.
he's in a much better spot, and it really seems like they're just like letting him do his thing and be himself now, and he's really flourished.
Big time.
Especially with like some of this, his comedic timing is so good, bro. Like
Yeah.
when he was hitting everybody's like emote things, oh my
Yeah.
god, it was so good. Like even before he did it, like to their faces, like when he was doing it like throughout the match,
Yeah.
he was like, for the LA Knight thing, that was great. But yeah, I think so. I say that to say I think we're better off now. I think this version of Jacob versus Solo is better than what we would have gotten at WrestleMania. From a story perspective, at least. I don't know how you feel, but
No, I agree. It feels like the timing was better now.
yeah,
I think
agreed.
everybody is better.
Um,
So let's move on, Dylan, because we got
which
another.
I'll just. All right, we'll talk about this later. Actually, we'll talk about.
Okay. Yeah, if you want to hear what Dylan, if you're so curious to hear what Dylan's about to say, you got to check out the podcast. So let's move on to the other men's mid-card title. That's the WWE Intercontinental Championship match. Dylan, that's your champion, Dirty Dominik Mysterio, will be defending his title against Rey Mysterio. The father versus son feud could reignite over a title, especially with Dominik's heel persona. This would be a highly emotional match with a classic dynamic for the Saudi Arabian audience. Dylan, Dirty Dom versus his daddy, Rey Mysterio. Is this happening?
Probably not. Ray's hurt right now too.
Yeah.
I don't know how bad like his injury is currently, but because he definitely would have been on the Worlds Collide card if he
Yeah.
was healthy enough. So he obviously wasn't healthy enough. He obviously isn't that close to being healthy enough. I think it would be, yeah. I think out of, I mean, it would be fun. I don't see them going back to the Ray and Dom thing.
Agreed.
I honestly don't know if I see them going back to it until Ray retires. I think Dom probably retires Ray.
I agree. I can get behind that.
Whether it be like babyface versus babyface, I think it's too far. Like I think you just never go back from the deadbeat dad. I think
Yeah.
they're never on the same page again in kayfabe. But I guess it would be nice. I mean, it would. I could definitely see. Like, can you imagine like 10 years from now, if like Dom and Ray finally reunite? Like we get like an
10
old Ray.
years?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying Ray's still wrestling.
Oh, okay.
Like in a situation where like Ray, like
Yeah,
we get like
Dom's
on-screen-
older.
Yeah,
Maybe Dom has some kids.
it's like the first.
Understands.
But like I'm just imagining like they're like, oh my, they have not spoken in 15 years.
They have not spoken since Dom retired, Ray.
Yeah, like and even then they're just like, they have not been on the same page since Dominik Mysterio turned his back when he was just 21 years old. Dominik is now 38. That's what I want. I want it to be like super long before they're on the same page again. But yeah, I think it would be cool. I don't think it's very likely, if likely at all, to happen though.
All right, let's move on to this next one. We have the first. I will also note they didn't put the women's tag titles on this at all.
Interesting.
So let's move on to the first of the 4 world titles, and that's going to be the WWE Women's Championship match. That's going to be your champion Tiffany Stratton versus, this is interesting, the winner of the 2025 Women's Money in the Bank, which would be Naomi. Prediction: Tiffany Stratton has had a strong reign. A fresh challenger, especially a Money in the Bank winner looking to make their mark, or a returning formidable foe, would provide a significant threat. If not a Money in the Bank cash-in announced beforehand, perhaps a number 1 contender like Charlotte Flair or Jade Cargill. Dylan, Tiff versus Naomi, who would potentially be calling her shot in this case. Is that going down?
I mean, she's definitely not calling her shot.
Agreed. There's no shot. She's calling her shot.
She might cash in. I could see them running back Tiff and Charlotte for some reason.
I like Tiff versus Jade.
Yeah, I agree. I just think it's hard to. You think Jade wins then?
I think Tiff versus Jade. Naomi cashes in, screws
Jade, and then starts the feud with Jade.
That feud again.
Maybe. Yeah, I mean, I could definitely see that. I like it. Yeah, I like that.
They already had a bit of a run-in a couple weeks ago on SmackDown. So let's move on, Dylan, to the next women's championship match, and that's going to be the Women's World Championship, which is your champion IYO SKY versus Rhea Ripley. Prediction: IYO SKY defeated Rhea Ripley for the title. Ripley would be on a warpath to get her championship back, leading to an intense and highly skilled encounter. Rhea versus IYO. Is this going down at Night of Champions?
Maybe. I don't think so, though. I don't think.
Wow. Okay.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Potentially, though.
Who do you think IYO would face at Night of Champions then?
I think they might do something new, like Roxanne or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I could see this happening for sure.
I kind of think Rhea and IYO are going to main event Evolution. That's kind of where my head's at with that.
Yeah, but Rhea's going to be on the Saudi show.
Probably.
Oh, there's no probably. She will 100% be on the Saudi Arabia show.
Okay. I don't know.
Okay.
They don't like women that much. I'm not going to be that.
That is true.
I'm not going to be that confident.
That is true. All right, let's move on to the Men's World Heavyweight Championship match, which is going to be your champion, your heavy Yeet champion, Jey Uso, defending his title against the ring general, Gunther. Jey Uso won the title from Gunther at WrestleMania 41. Gunther never one to take a loss lightly, would be laser focused on reclaiming his championship. This promises a hard-hitting athletic contest. Dylan, Jey versus Gunther. Night of Champions. I will also, while you think, I will preface this by saying we are recording this before Monday Night Raw in case Gunther wins or in case I think Seth's going to cash in. So if Jey is not your world champion,
I kind of think
if Jey's not your world champion when this comes out, that's why. But let's assume Jey is for sake of this.
No, I don't think this is the match.
Okay.
Dude, I can't. I think Seth is cashing in.
I'm so confident Seth is cashing in. Jey Uso's not leaving Monday Night Raw as world champion. And if he does, then I guess we look dumb.
Or maybe, yeah. Or if Seth doesn't cash in tonight, I think he cashes in at Night of Champions, probably.
Okay.
So, yeah. But I feel pretty confident that Seth is going to cash in, and it's going to be Seth versus Jey at Night of Champions.
All right. I agree, and I can get behind that. Maybe a triple threat with Gunther.
Yeah, that would be even more cool.
Depending on how the cash-in goes. But let's move on to our final match, Dylan. And that's going to be the undisputed WWE Championship match, which will be your champion, never seen 17, John Cena, defending against Cody Rhodes, a WrestleMania 41 rematch, with this being Cena's last Night of Champions and his run as a quote-unquote darker champion. Cody Rhodes would be determined to reclaim the title he lost and quote-unquote finish his story against the legendary figure. This has a big fight feel worthy of an international spectacle. Cena versus Cody at Night of Champions, Dylan.
Yeah, it feels pretty likely. It feels pretty, especially because it's in Saudi Arabia, right? So you know they're going to get a big match.
Yeah.
Truly the only other thing that I'm like, the only other option would be Cena versus Truth.
Oh.
Based
Okay.
on the setup, right?
I like the way you think. I wouldn't completely set aside Cena versus Logan.
I wouldn't completely set aside either,
But
I
now
think they
our
would have
boy
done more
Truth
to set
came
that
back.
up.
Yeah, our boy Truth came back. I think that has a higher chance of happening than Logan now.
Yeah, I still think Cody's probably the most likely. Especially if it wasn't in Saudi Arabia, I would actually kind of think that it'd be more likely for Truth to get another match first.
I agree.
But with it being in Saudi Arabia, I lean Cody. So I'm just like, yeah, they're gonna get a WrestleMania rematch probably.
It feels like that's probably.
And then maybe the third is at SummerSlam, and that's when Cody takes it back.
Yeah, start the Cena babyface run. It's funny because this is the only match I feel like that they probably got right.
Probably, yeah. Io and Rhea maybe.
It seems like you thought all the rest were not very likely.
Well, I'm just so confident that it's only going to be the 4 world titles. I'm not saying I'm happy about that, but
yeah,
I'd prefer it to be all the championships. But then again, I'm not sure if I'd prefer a 10-match card again. So,
it would actually be 13 matches with the King and Queen of the Ring.
All right, well, let's say, I mean, we'll just throw this in there. Who do you think's going to be in the finals of King and Queen of the Ring? So I know, I mean, King is hard for me to think off the top of my head. I'll tell you this, though. Queen of the Ring, I feel pretty good about.
I'm with you.
Queen of the Ring, I feel pretty good. Well, Steph's going to win. Yeah. And then, but I think Steph versus Julia in the final, maybe.
Oh, yeah.
I like
that would be awesome.
And then, I mean, Cody might, but this is the other thing. Cody might win King of the Ring to then get his match at SummerSlam. Because like I said in our predictions video, I was like, they very well might have Cody pin Cena to set up the rematch, even though they don't need to do that. And then that's what they did. And then after, on the post show, Cody was like, they were like, you pinned the champion. What does that mean? And he was like, I'm not about to get into me. So it's like they immediately did exactly what I said. And I was like, they didn't need to do it. Like, Cody has a rematch regardless.
To the close.
But then again, Roman's never had his rematch. So
that is true. The men's, I'm so confident Steph is going to win the Queen of the Ring. For the men, now that you said it, Cody feels very likely to win that, to get his SummerSlam.
But then who do we get? Then do we get Cena versus Truth at Night of Champions?
Cena versus Truth, yeah. Or Cena versus Logan.
Maybe.
So you guys
maybe could see Logan Paul winning King of the Ring too, which was
Good God. Don't even say that again. We're not even going to put that out there. So you guys let us know, of these matches, which one was the most likely that you think is most likely to happen at Night of Champions. Make sure to smash that subscribe button if you want to see more of AI generated videos. If you want to watch our podcast, the Burning Hammer podcast, which you can listen to wherever you listen to your podcast. If you want to check out our previous videos, we actually released a new video, Dylan, every single day of this past week.
We hear that every day.
So our previous video, we interviewed a local independent wrestler, Marvelous, and then the one before that was the podcast on Wednesday, if you want to hear us talk about Money in the Bank. And then we will be back on Monday with another episode of the Burning Hammer podcast. With that being said, I'm Mark Izzo. He is Dylan O'Brien, and we'll catch you in the next video.